Topic: Christianity and Capitalism, a Partial Match, Made in Heaven. Produced by Black Bottom James at BKK Productions. Theme: Jesus is real. There's so many variances in choosing a suitable application for your purpose, always headed toward a path leading to an unknown destination or a distressful experience filled with agony and misfortune. Even in choosing Christianity there are no flaws. However, your path will contain unexplained occurrences, distressing decisions, and ill-advised actions. You will soon discover perfection is beyond your reach, but control is achievable. The earth is the domain of the enemy and all that dwells within it, yet, through Jesus, God has allocated a path of travel through righteous leading us to Him. The other path or beliefs have many options for corruption, which are sometimes chosen, yet, are not part of a legitimate foundational beliefs of Christianity. It allows for forgiveness in those areas man attempts in creating his own rules, assimilating them into Christianity. Thinking we can place these deeds alongside our Christian beliefs, assuming acceptance will be obtained. These are the teachings of and lies of T.D. Jakes, pronouncing the values, morals, and lies of the LGBTQ community are honorable, decent, and upright. T.D. Jakes will be shockingly disappointed taking his last breath before hell. Yet, this is not the only area of humanity being targeted for their resources to be exploited for profits. In the chocolate industry of Liberia, Ghana, and Ivory Coast, Cargill has used its dominance and authority for deforestation and child labor practices and control the cost of chocolate. The virgin forests of these countries are being destroyed for the profits from planting cocoa bean. The parents are selling the services of their children for food, trying to avoid starvation. Cargill grows and harvests the cocoa beans, which is then sold to Nestle, Hershey, and Mars. Cargill is a known predator of capitalism, abusing, manipulating, and battering the people and the land and allowing the rich in getting richer. This is an abomination at its worst and the ugliness of greed. This is why these actions are so egregious. They are attempting to assimilate or adapt a threatening new doctrine of beliefs of the Christian faith, which forms the cornerstone of man's existence. God is upset and infuriated with these disingenuous verisimilitudes, in claiming to be the truth replaced with defamation and deceits. There is so much dishonesty, misrepresentation, and distortion prevalent in this world, mostly placing money in someone's pocket. Christianity, like capitalism, is a choice. The objective is to find an economic systems having responsive traits, as man, greed, hunger, desire, selfishness, etc. are all needed for this system to be effective. It embodies all those areas of inner man. If you can find a system duplicating man and covering the essentials of production, resource allocation, and distribution of goods and services, it will be applicable. Christianity is perfect in its doctrine, not the believer views, as they may not correspond with the narrow ethics of the Bible. Capitalism is flawed but reasonable and consistent, yet there are risks. Capitalism is an economic system of choice, even though man-made, it has flaws, in which all things man-made has errors and imperfections, yet it works. Since being adopted early on initiating this country, it has demonstrated its flexibility and stamina. I do believe it was a chosen economic system by God for the buying and selling of goods and services, financial transactions, and trade of this nation. Of course, there are variances, disparities or deviations will be exemplified or displayed for the advantage or disadvantages of these utilizations are opportunities detailing nuances and refinements characterizing their forecasting and predictions of veritable market trends defining the selection possibilities. These applications form the basic constituents characterizing the capitalistic system available in the US and other countries. These integration forces, hostilities and barriers of human desires, values, expression and esteem, as absolute elements but the best available for man, for this particular environment. Others have recognized the benefits of capitalism, yet, making that transition to where this system is being used is not quite easily done. While the faults of Argentina, Russia and China have been recognized and documented, neither country created a path of attributes and characteristics others are endorsing and validating as a model of government to follow. The Russians has suffered a total collapse, with Argentina seeming on the verge of recovery, yet sinking back to ultra-high inflation and devaluation of its currency. The Chinese economy, well, by their views, the economy is great, but the economic indicators tell a different story, using this partial, restrained, controlled or curbed version of capitalism. In selected areas of the CCP had favorable initial results, but panic and reality were only steps away from chaos and confusion in the real estate market, their unmitigated economic indicator. Every continent has been given an equal endeavor of resources relevant for their economic progression and encounters. Every nation within the borders of each continent has many nations each having vast opportunities, possibilities and options for the expansion, development and growth potential for the benefit of nations of the earth through trade, markets and industry, which is why capitalism is the optimum economic system for all free nations. Although all countries lack the freedom of the creator, having it stolen by the enemy, many nations never progress to their potential, as there was never a foundation of freedom ever expressed, uttered or spoken benefiting and prompting the citizens of those nations. Freedom is an essential necessity of any governing system in any thriving and independent nation. Without people having a God-given authority for self-rule, self-identification or self-discipline, what authority is there providing an individual to govern himself, with limitation, restrictions or controls being available by a government creating, commanding and constraining rules directing and regulating your own self-progression? There are no guarantees of peaches and cream in a capitalistic system. People do lose all their possessions, yet, there is the road back to progression. There is always an opportunity in regaining all you have lost plus more, continuing the expansion, never being satisfied with mediocrity. Progression from teenager to adult is never easy. The economic system used in the US wasn't a focus until economic classes were a part of the curriculum of the last 3 years of high school. I really never considered the type of economic system used in the US. When there seems to be lack of funds passing through the fingers, my concern was keeping the flow of money going. Later on in my senior year, I paid closer attention to a course in economics proceeding to understand the basic of the basics of this economic system called capitalism. In trying to retain what I learned, it became clearer of once, supply and demand. This laid the foundation for additional learning designed in applying the principles required for comprehending economic conditions for sustainability and their application underlining the essentials of basic economic theorems. This produced an explanation and direction for our economy, displaying its design and potential for a specific system of exploitation explicitly conceived and constructed in capturing our creative and innovative traits.